Hi, my name is Cynthia. My topic for this assignment was benefits of bilingualism. So you know, if I look over here, it's because I'm looking at my laptop. If I look down, I have my spiral. But just to move on, my topic was benefits or the effects of bilingualism, which kind of turned out to being mostly beneficial things because I wanted to be more of a positive look onto it. So I'd like to start off with a little bit of a history of bilingualism and how it's been created. So starting off in 1839 all the way until 2001 to now, in a sense. So in 1839, Ohio was the very first bilingual education. Then 1847, Louisiana followed shortly after. Then 1864, Congress had passed that Native Americans were prohibited to have the same kind of bilingual education. In 1870, Spanish was allowed in New Mexico to be used in instruction. In 1879, federal policy separated Native American families and they were sent to boarding schools. In 1889, the Bennett Act and the Edward Act mandated that students ages 8 to 14 must be taught in English. Then continuing to the 1900s, 1920 through 1923, 34 states had created laws forcing English-only teaching. And then 1934, the Bureau of Indian Affairs making the use of Native American languages. And then continuing to 1968, which was the Bilingual Education Act, mandating bilingual program. And then to 1982, which was the amendments created for Bilingual Education Act. Then in 1998, the Proposition 227 was established. And then lastly was 2001, and all the way up to this point, was the No Child Left Behind Act, mandating that the state measured the learning progress of all students. And then the bilingual program being optional by parents, so parents could deny or accept the source of teachers helping their students learn English. So overall, explaining the history, I know that was a lot, but what I had mostly grasped was that we had started off in 1839 almost being more accepting and being welcoming to students who were learning both languages. And then we kind of transitioned to almost neglecting that students come from different areas, neglecting different cultures, especially in Native American culture. And then we kind of transformed back into being more welcoming and accepting our students. And I think we still are definitely working on that and trying to create a better education program and a bilingual program that supports not only their English learning, but also their home language. And so the next thing that I want to talk about is the sources that I had used. So my article was talking about the effects of bilingualism, which again transitioned to the positive effects of bilingualism. And that mostly focused on social and academic and cognitive benefits. And so in my article, I had found a few of my favorite quotes that I feel kind of explain my article in kind of shorter sentences. So firstly was from Hisson L. Snow, which was published in 2017, and it was quoted, "In this study, we examine the incidence of social perspective taking acts in the argumentative essays of English minority and English-only students in grades 4 to 6, and find that language minority students match or surpass the English-only students on two critical measures of perspective taking." So I know that was a long quote, but to explain that in shorter terms, students who were creating essays who only knew mostly their home language were doing just as good as students who only knew one language. So, meaning that bilingual students have the ability to do as well as English-only students. And so I know that a lot of education systems, a lot of teachers sometimes feel that there's no way for the students to learn both languages, but they truly can. And through the social experiment, you can see that. Now moving on to the next little quote. As stated by Han W., growth curve results showed that despite starting with lower math scores in kindergarten, mixed bilingual children fully closed the math gap with their white English monolingual peers by 5th grade. So this one specifically talks about how students started off not as at the same rate as their monolingual students, but from kindergarten all the way transitioning all the way till 5th grade, they caught up and either caught up or even surpassed the other students. And so this kind of shows academically how students who are bilingual aren't limited to doing not as well as monolingual students, because they definitely are able to and capable of doing it. And then the last little quote that I will be explaining is from Baker and Wright, and it says, the fractional view sees bilinguals as two monolingual inside of one person. The holistic view sees bilinguals as a complete linguistic entry and integrated whole. So pretty much that means that a lot of times that we see students as either they can only learn one language or the other. We don't always see them as being able or capable of combining both languages, and really being bilingual has so many benefits in that sense that you truly can learn both languages, and actually it helps whenever you learn another language. So when a student understands and knows one language, it's so much more efficient for a student to be able to learn a second one, because they have the skills and the knowledge that they used for their first language that they now can use on their second language. So and in my essay I kind of explain all of the benefits of being bilingual, and there was another one that I had thought was really interesting, was that being bilingual truly has so many benefits, such as in math, students who were bilingual did so much better than some of the monolingual students, only because they had the proper tools and the knowledge on how to focus on the true meaning or question of the math problem rather than getting confused in all the little details of it. And so they could kind of get right to the point and understand and know what to do to break down the problem. So really, overall, being bilingual is pretty amazing. You create all these skills that monolingual students might not necessarily have. So lastly is the plan of action, which I kind of have been speaking about this entire time, but in my essay I explained this as well, that in current classrooms, including our future classrooms or future teachers, I think that it's really important that we advocate and we stand up for our students, and we make sure that they understand that there truly is so many benefits of being bilingual, and that although they may feel that there's a lot of work that comes into it, which it does, and I don't think that it's easy being bilingual, but there's so many benefits of being that there's no reason to quit, or no reason for you to feel that learning not only your home language but your second language isn't beneficial, because it totally is. And going back to that point, I think as a future educator, you should emphasize this, and you also understanding and knowing the benefits, because that will show your students that if it's important to you, that it's important to them. And so hopefully by that point they want to work hard and they know that it is truly worth it. And even if we as teachers could maybe perhaps encourage language use in the classroom, and that way it gets students to being interested in other languages and maybe wanting to maybe later on learn another language if they are only speaking English currently. And so just by doing like these simple little actions, I think that it encourages students to work hard and to develop all of these benefits of being bilingual. And so thank you so much. I hope that you learned something. I know this video was kind of long, but I had so much fun researching this, and I think as future educators it's so important to understand these things and to know them, and this essay truly has helped me understand that. So if you have any questions or comments or anything that you want to share to me that maybe I didn't include, please leave that in the Canvas discussion board. Thank you so much.